Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I have a friend. I'm Paul John Dykes. This is Lawrence Conley. Like the old days, Lawrence used to jump your car and come through the studio when I needed a body, remember?
Oh, great days, mate. Great days.
Fantastic days, fantastic days. And I'll tell you something, there's a wee spring in our step, I think, at half time. I'm not getting over confident here, but I think in terms of a first half performance in Europe, I'm going to say that was very mature, Lawrence, a very mature performance.
But listen, that's what I was just going to use. The word I was going to use, it's mature. It looks like, I know Atalanta, they're not Dortmund, but it looks like we've developed. And midfielders playing a wee bit further back, closer to their defence, giving them a bit more protection. Listen, a couple of times in the break we've looked dangerous, but you can see there's a bigger gap between our forwards and our midfield. It's kind of what we were speaking about in the Dortmund game. You know, we're away from home. Just get your distances a wee bit better. And they look to have done it here. You know, Atalanta have had a lot of the ball. Schmeichel's some cracking saves, but still not half time away from home. You know, it's a vast improvement. You know, I think the structure and the setup of the team is better. Trusty having his best game so far that I've seen him?
Yes.
Probably.
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think when I look at the first half, if I look at the defence, I think defensively we've been very good because we've been under the cosh. And I think maybe the game plan has been that we're trying to soak that up and catch them on the counter. There's been a few occasions down the wings, particularly with Kuhn, and you think to yourself, Lawrence, he's away. And I think that we're targeting their fullbacks. Maeda has won a couple of corners that way, and Kuhn's got in behind them a couple of times. But it looks as though we are just trying to catch them on the break.
Yeah, what 36 minutes played, Maeda, the boy, just gets back ahead of him. You know, Maeda's daft enough to give him a wee touch, and the centre half falls over, and the chance is gone. But yeah, listen, what we're looking for away from home, anything's a bonus for us, isn't it? We need a wee bit more confidence in Europe. We're a bit naive against Dortmund. I would say, you know, you've said it, this is a bit more mature. The team seems to have developed. Whether that's they're carrying out Brendan's orders better, or Brendan's tweaked it a wee bit and said, look, to the midfield, just sit that wee bit further back, give that defence some protection here. And trust him, mate, you know, cracking headers he won there. It's looked good. As the scene set, you know, what would we change? Either Paul's just not sticking with it just now. You know, we'll see Keel go at some point. Hopefully their defence will be tired at that point. And a bit more running. I'd like to see McCowan against these boys.
You know, the only one, there's people in the comment section, and I will bring them up, who is not only talking about McCowan, Lawrence, but also talking about that midfield unit. It was the point of discussion all week coming into this game. The midfield three that I was going to pick, and I was 100% wrong, was Bernardo, McGregor and Engels, more defensive-minded. For me, the best midfielder on the park's been Rio Hatate.
Yeah, he's looked great again. He was unlucky that just towards the end of the first half, see where he slips. But he slips and then I think he gets the ball before the player goes over his leg. You're going, well, what are you giving them the free kick for? Again, he slipped, but he's played the ball. So, yeah, he's looked good touches. It was him that tried the through ball to Maeda, a wee bit further right, or maybe not as far ahead. You know, Maeda's in. Yeah, he's looked great, but we're soaking up the pressure that's got to take it, you know, a good bit out of him. And it's, I suppose, what's Brendan saying to the boys? Just stick with it. Game plan's working. Get through the first 15, 30 minutes to go. We'll change it a wee bit. And to be honest, I wouldn't be pushing for the win. You know, a point here is massive for us on the road.
Well, you know, I'm looking at the comments, and a lot of people seem to be disagreeing with me in relation to Hatate. The comments were in before I mentioned that I think he's having a really good game. And the reason I think he's having a good game, on 2 occasions, Lawrence, where we've been under the cosh, he's been the man that's won the ball and actually dribbled the ball out, maybe past 2 or 3 players, and turned defence into attack and given us the breathing space. Now, the attacks didn't come to anything, right? But it wasn't really the fault of Rio Hatate. There's been a couple of other occasions where he's played that risky pass that we spoke about before the game. We know he can play a risky pass. More often than not, it doesn't come off. When it does, you can score a goal. So I think that's the reason for me that, and he's worked really hard defensively, which is part of the game that I've probably been quite critical of him on. So that's my reason behind Hatate. I think if we're going to pinpoint a midfielder who hasn't done so well so far, it would be Arnie Engels. We had a very good move down the right-hand side, and Engels just seemed to take an edge on the ball. And I don't know if it was a case of him trying to play the perfect pass, but we ended up losing possession. So, I'm not looking to make a change, Lawrence, but I don't see why anyone would look at Hatate's performance in the first half as being poor. I think he's a right good game.
Yeah, he doesn't normally give us that much defensively, but I think with the midfield playing closer, I think it's maybe only 5-10 yards closer to defensively, and it's made us look a lot more solid, isn't it? Listen, he's had a couple of passes astray. We know that if you play a risky pass, it might go astray, it might get cut out. But defensively, he's been solid. I think he played another ball out to Engels on the right. Engels just miscontrolled it. As I said before, it was him that dropped the one over for Maida to run over it. The centre half just beat him to it. So, yeah, he's doing what we're needing him to do. But Trusty, mate, I thought Trusty's
he's been really solid.
Yeah, some cracking headers. He's a big physical guy. We're actually beginning to see that. So it's kind of more of the same, isn't it? I don't know what the stats are. It's probably 70%, 75% possession.
Wouldn't surprise me. They've dominated the ball. Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're right. You do that, and if you go out in the second half and play for the next 15 or 20 minutes and try and contain them, and if you get a break, I think we've got to do better on the break. One of the points and one of the reasons that keeps coming through in the comments around why we're not doing better is we're not holding the ball up well enough. And I think he does take in the flak a fair bit for that. I thought that was one of his strengths, Lawrence, but he's not been great today at trying to hold the ball up and bring the wingers in and find those pockets of space in behind the fullbacks.
That's what you'd say he's got over Kyogo. But it's not been his best performance. But you know what? He's a bit further away from the midfield here. He's under a bit more pressure. Kyogo's going to come on at some point, regardless of how he does performing. Let's be honest. We know he's going to come on. But, it's not each away from home. We're against Dortmund. It's a huge improvement for us here. Both for the team, and hopefully, the manager's learned a wee bit. I know he came out after Dortmund and said, I wouldn't change it, go down. Well, that midfield and defence are closer. He's playing it a bit safer. Not so much changing the style, just saying, look, just be harder to break down here. But I was looking at cross my head, I put over, and his keeper spilled it. And I know he went the other side of the keeper, but you're thinking, if Kyogo had been in there, would have been waiting on the spill. It's their chances have been better than ours, but nothing each. It doesn't matter.
You're right.
I know some football managers might go with 3 chances each and stuff. It's like crazy stuff like that when they give each 3-0, but same amount of chances. It's nothing each. We're away from home. We've got an improved European performance so far. Got to be happy at half time.
Yeah, and I don't want to go through this half-time break without really highlighting the performance of both Trusty and Schmeichel. And the reason I want to do it is Trusty was a player who was coming in for questioning at the pre-match that we did there, Lawrence. A lot of people said that they're not convinced, they don't trust him, etc. And then others were making the argument that he's playing on the wrong side of the defence for himself, obviously stepping in for Carter Vickers, who's injured. And we're not going to drop Liam Scales. By the way, I've just got to bring this up, Andy Logan, and it's nothing personal against yourself, but I don't see this. I really don't see this. I think there was one moment in the first half where Scales and Engels, there was a mix-up, kind of like halfway line, Lawrence, and it made Scales look like the worst of the two, but both players were guilty of not commanding the ball. Scales left it for Engels. Engels left it for Scales. He was left flat-footed, and it looked as though it was Scales' error. But I think that Scales is the typical kind of whipping boy. He's not been as good as Trusty tonight, but in terms of the defence, my biggest concern has been at the back post where it looks as though young Baye is being doubled up on. And what you want to do in that scenario, Lawrence, is make sure that Maeda is more defensively aware of that, because Baye, there was one occasion where Atalanta are breaking and he's following his man, right? And there is number 16 at the back post constantly. And that's a danger. And I think Maeda needs to be alive to that.
Yeah, listen, Brendan will take note of that. It said to me, they'll look, just get back quicker. But listen, on Scales, what do people want for Liam Scales? You know, he's signing for League Ireland. He's improved season upon season. I think he's a best defender so far.
I'd agree with that. Absolutely.
Listen, I was talking to Mark the other week, and he was saying, like, Scales have got back to learn, but he is learning. He still gets pulled out a bit. He still goes up the park too far. You know, he lets a striker take him for a walk sometimes. But he's getting better, you know, season and season.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's absolutely been our best defender so far this season. It's, you know, time for a bit of support when the game's on. You know, if we want to criticise, wait till the game's finished. You know, I think Vai's done all right as well. I know he's been doubled up, but it's all kind of 41 minutes or something. You see the wee shooter he gave to the boy just to put him off balance and the ball runs out for a throw in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's got that physicality that Brendan was talking about that this team needs.
Yeah.
But for me, you know, if the game ends 0-0, delighted. Absolutely delighted. That team's got to win and think, geez, we've had big chances and not taken any. You know, the doubt will be creeping into their mind, you know. We've had a few chances here, but Celtic are holding in and have looked dangerous in the break.
This is the thing, Lawrence. It's not a case of because they have had a lot of chances they turn the screw and it's inevitable that they score. It can work the other way. The frustration can kick in as well, can't it?
Oh, without doubt. You know, if we hold the next 15 minutes and get our changes in, give us a wee bit of fresh legs. I think, you know, it's not looking like he does tonight so far. Kyogo might give us something different up top, and I'd love to see McKeown come on for Engels. I think the energy and the passion he's got, the through balls that he plays could lead to something for us. You know, it's not looked like Engels' night either. But he's played his part in getting us to this point.
I think McKeown, the thing I love about McKeown is the fact that regardless of how much pressure is upon you, Lawrence, he always demands the ball. He doesn't hide. He finds a wee pocket of space. He demands the ball. Brilliant defensively, loves to dig in. But when he's got possession of the ball, he can make something happen. Now, if you watch that first half again, what you'll see is at no point does Baye or Johnston overlap the wingers, which is par for the course domestically. They overlap the wingers, hit the byline, and then obviously zip a ball across the face of goal normally for Kyogo. Not once has our fullbacks played as high up the pitch as that. So it's a defensive tactic.
You're not even getting them drifting in as much to make that extra man in midfield.
Yeah,
you know, would have been a wee bit more rigid there.
Yeah, they're defending.
Which is great away from home in Europe. You know, this is more dangerous team than we normally face in Scotland. So you're away from home, a point in the roads. It's manna from heaven for us, isn't it? You know.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a point I wasn't expecting, Lawrence. If indeed, listen, we're halfway there. There's a long way to go. I'm not considering for a moment we've got the point, but if you get anything from tonight's game, it's an unexpected bonus, isn't it?
Oh, listen, I was out of hospital for an MRI scan this morning. The boy behind the was going, I'll be behind the sofa. Like, come on, mate. You know, I have some faith. I don't see anything there that had its hiding behind the sofa that some people might have been expecting. You know, that's an assured, mature European performance.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a game plan. We're a bit tighter. We're looking at hitting the break. Listen, you can look at the 2 goals we lost to Aberdeen. We had a bad 20 minutes. The 2 chances they scored to. That's the kind of return we're looking for here, isn't it? Just to get a chance and put it back in it. It's, you know, Atalanta will know they've had loads of chances here. They've been a better team. How many were clear cut? How many were we really cut open?
Well, this is the thing.
You'll get a bit of pressure from the fans as this goes on. Because the fans will be like, geez, this is a team that gets scared to be Dortmund. You know, what's going on here? And hopefully that can work for us.
Well, this is the thing. It looks like a great atmosphere at the moment. But 15 minutes in, and I'm sure Brendan Rodgers will be saying this to the players in the dressing room, you just hold firm for that 15 minutes. And then you look at the situation. At that point, Lawrence, if we're able to do that, where you swap up Ida for Kyogo. And then you've got a completely different situation on the counter where you don't have to just play the balls down the wings. You've also got an out ball through the middle because he can beat the offside trap at that point, something that you're not really expecting Ida to do. So it looks as though the game plan is working perfectly well at this moment in time, Lawrence, and I'm looking forward to the second half. You're watching the game, of course, in the Skylark, one of the most famous bars in Glasgow, but nobody can find it, mate.
Yeah, you know, these shebeens, mate, you've got to keep them a secret. And else you don't know who would turn up at your door. But I mean,
hey, I'll be turning up and we'll be filming Acsom. Don't you worry. We'll be doing that at some point.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it, mate. But honestly, see tonight, you know, it's Europe. We talk about it at the beginning of the season. It's Europe that we're going to be judged on.
Mm-hmm.
It's good away performance we've had in a while, especially from where the teams come from. You know, that bad result against Dortmund, international break against Aberdeen losing a 2-goal lead. You know, this is great for us. I'm not too sure many Celtic fans would have said, you know, we'll hold our own at half time, we'll get in at 0-0. I think most people would have said, look, we'll probably take a goal or two off us before that. You know, Carter Vickers is out, the jury was out in Trusty. He's looked great so far.
Yeah,
you know,
he has.
Baye continues to improve. You know, he's given us that kind of physicality. So, yeah, great for us, mate. But I think we're just about to get a second half underway and we'll be praying that the next 15 minutes goes much like the first 45 and it's still 0-0.
100%. You've got to grow in confidence when you know that the game plan has worked for 45. Brendan Rodgers hopefully can keep it going for the next 15 or 20. Let's join the action. We'll be back at full time and we'll be streaming from Fife and the Skylark Bar. Hopefully we'll have a smile on our face. Thanks for joining us and joining us at full time on A Celtic State of Mind.